This is the video where I'm going to take your punching from average to elite. I'm going to show you 3 actionable shifts that's going to make you punch like an absolute machine. Shift 1, creating torque. This is going to be the mechanical leverages I'm going to find within my body that's going to give me the most advantage when throwing a power shot. Now I'm going to demonstrate it on the bag. I'm also going to show you a med ball example here with a med ball throw, and you can see the clear differences behind not using torque on the body and using torque with the body. So again, the mechanical leverages. Now I see so many beginners when they're throwing punches, and even in the pro game, I see fighters who are just throwing arm punches. There is some advantages just to throwing a quick arm punch, but if we really want to create devastating power that's going to really knock our opponents out and it's going to create a statement, then we need to be finding torque in our body. So what I mean by that is simply a lot of fighters will just be throwing arm punches like so. Okay, so even just from here, as you can visually see, when I throw an arm punch with my lead hook here, I can get average amount of power into it just with the arm, okay? And I'm really trying here, I can just get that going here. It's not much power, as you can see. Now, when I add more torque into the body with rotation, I'm going to be able to have so much more devastating power behind it because I'm creating that leverage point, okay? So as I rotate my body, and I'm really going to exaggerate this here, but I'm rotating my body, I'm creating a loaded spring within my body. Now from here, what I'm going to be doing is I'm now loading back, and this is the torque, okay? So the torque behind the punch. So as I rotate my body and as I come back, all that power that's been spring loaded and compressed is then going to be pushing forward and translating onto my opponent onto the back. So again, the clear differences here we can see visually and actionably is that we throw an arm shot and we don't get much power behind it. Now we're going to rotate with a bit of speed, and now we're going to get so much more power. Okay, so you can see the visual difference there. As I rotate, as I get torque in my body, I now load the spring up, and the spring is being released a lot faster and a lot harder versus if I'm just throwing with the arm. Now this may seem like common sense. Well, okay, you know, you're rotating, it's going to add more power, I get it, but the amount of fighters I still see not applying this. Now we want to really exaggerate this so that we can find the best position, the best leverage point where we can add our own power. Everyone's going to feel different. If I rotate here, this might be super comfortable for me, but it may not be comfortable for you. So what I want you to practice in the bag is seeing where you get the most amount of power. Simply just doing this drill, rotating back and forth from the back side to the lead side, okay? And then from here, find where you can find the most amount of power and comfortability, okay? So for me, I'm just going to start rotating my body. I'm going to go backhand, I'm going to rotate, and I'm going to go lead hand. And you can see the clear differences versus, look, if I'm just arm punching, keeping my body stationary, I can throw an average enough punch, but I'm not going to get that devastating one punch knockout that I want. Now, a bonus tip from here is that how do we set this up without telegraphing? So, okay, if I do this here in a fight, you know, someone knows I'm going to be loading. Okay, Rocky Marciano, he used to load onto his back foot, creating torque, and then come through with a Suzy Q. But what I want to do is set it up. So I'm not going to be just instantly going here and then throwing the shot. If I throw my backhand, I'm rotating, okay? So as I throw my backhand, they're seeing a rotation, okay? So they can't decipher which punch I'm actually going to throw, okay? So I can go backhand, okay? I can feint, and they're unaware of what's happening here. I can go jab, taking my body off center line, and then from here I'm creating that torque that I just talked about, which is going to allow me to come in. So they don't really know what's happening. I'm not just going to load here and then throw it, okay? I'm going to set it up there. I'm not just going to throw it from here because, again, as the fighter is more advanced, they're going to see it being telegraphed. So that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is jab, okay, I'm going to go backhand, I'm going to go backhand, I'm going to go back and snap through. And as you can see there, it's a lot harder to read. And we can do this and practice our own ways of setting up. You can just use your head movement, okay? Shifting back and forth, okay? And then from here, at that point, you're going to find the timing and where your opponent's at, okay? And then from there, you can explode. Shift 2, kinetic energy through the legs. Now, when it comes to kinetic energy, we want to use our legs to create the most amount of power. One of the most devastating things about punching is the legs itself. So many fighters don't take this into consideration when throwing knockout power. And I'm going to show you an actionable shift and a change that's going to get it visually into your head, the difference between using your legs and not using your legs. Okay, so watch the clear difference here. As I go to my knees, okay, I'm going to be taking away the power through my legs. Now I'm going to simply push the bag. Now you may think to yourself again, well, of course you're going to be pushing a lot harder if you're standing up, but this is a visual shift that's going to actually get it into your head why you need your kinetic energy, that kinetic chain, to really get the most amount of power. So I'm going to push the bag here as hard as I can, okay, from just here. And honestly, it feels pathetic. Now, as you see the difference, I'm standing here. I'm not going to be taking a big run up to it, but just the difference in having my legs here, we're going to be seeing the change in how I'm able to shift this bag through kinetic energy. So here we go. Okay, as you can see, I'm not even using much here. I'm just using my legs and my weight. And you can clearly see the big difference there, and that's from the kinetic energy through my body. So now I'm going to show you that in boxing terms, okay? Boxing terms, how we can apply it to the ring and how we can apply kinetic energy through our legs, through our hips. So, as you can see here, when I throw my jab, I'm just going to throw a stiff jab with good enough technique, and I'm not going to change anything with my leg positioning, okay? I'm not going to change my feet or anything like that, and you're going to see me just throw my jab here, okay? So as I throw my jab, again, I can get a decent amount of power in it, okay? But now if I really want to maximize that power, I'm going to take one simple step forward. Again, I talk about this simple step all the time, but you see the absolute difference that simple step is going to make in my jab. Okay, so as I jab, I'm going to step this lead foot forward ever so slightly. So all the power is coming off this back foot, is translating over into the front foot and onto the bag. Okay, so as you see the rise and then you can see the shift in the bag, okay? You can see the power coming through, the speed and everything through that kinetic chain. Okay, versus if I'm just throwing my arm here, okay? The bag's kind of staying stationary. There's a decent amount of power. You can hear the power, but now that explosive energy rising through with the feet. So as I'm moving my body, I'm going to step in, okay, and you can see the shift in that bag, okay? So that is the kinetic energy, the kinetic chain rising through the legs. Now, when I go to hook, I want to do the same thing. So I'm adding torque, and this is going off the first part of this video with punch and power. I'm now going to add torque into the body, but as I deliver that punch, I'm going to drive my hip through the bag, okay? So imagine that as I'm here with the torque of the punch, okay? As I throw, I'm not just going to throw here and turn in. I'm also going to use my legs, so I'm going to be driving that hip up through, okay? Imagine that hip has been loaded back as well, and now that power is coming right through, pushing through the bag, okay? So we're here, and as I throw the punch, and that power through the leg is driving through the bag. And again, that small shift, that small change in using your legs, okay? So as I throw that hook, okay, I'm actually driving the hip into it. So I'm not just using torque and then throw my arm. Okay, I'm actually shifting my weight over. The weight is coming over and translating back into the bag, into my opponent. And again, if I'm throwing the backhand, as I step my feet, you can see that kinetic force driving through. And the amount of people that just throw an arm punch just from here and expect to get the most amount of power behind that punch, yes, you may get a good punch, but you'll get so much more power by adding your body behind the punch. So as I step, I'm getting that kinetic and fast twitch fibers driving through my opponent. Shift 3, conditioning the hands. I've made videos on this before. I've talked about this here, but you've seen me hitting the bag there, and honestly, my hands are fine. Now, why you will be able to hit as hard as you can is because your hands are able to absorb the punch, okay? Your wrists are able to absorb the punch. Many times in fights, I found myself that I was holding back because I didn't want to hit as hard because I was scared to hurt my hands. And of course, you can bandage your hands up. In the pro game, the professionals are going to keep your hands as protected as they can, but it's only going to help so much. We need to develop the knuckles. We need to develop callus in the bone. And I've made videos on this, and I would advise you to go watch them videos because they're going to give you a better understanding. But just to briefly go over that again, what I want to be doing is conditioning my hands. Don't be scared to hit the bag, okay? Don't be scared to go in and just start conditioning your knuckles, conditioning your hands, because when you start to conditioning your knuckles, conditioning your wrists, you are building callus, you're building strength in the forearm, strength in the wrist, and strength into the knuckles itself. And this is going to give you and your nervous system the ability to actually punch as hard as you can. Versus if I'm always protecting my hands, always wearing big padding, this may be limiting my punching power, because when I go to wear smaller gloves in a fight, or when I go to hit with my bare hand, my nervous system ultimately is going to stop me when it feels the pain, and that is going to stop you from punching as hard as you can. But if I have the confidence in my hands, the confidence in my wrists, I'm going to be able to punch as hard as I can. So I just started off with simple drills, okay, using the rice, using sand, building strength into the forearms, and then I started hitting the bag just with my bare hands. This is not only going to allow you to develop strength in the hands, strength in the forearms, it's also going to allow you to have correct punching technique. Why? Because you get exact feedback. So if I'm wearing gloves, sometimes what can actually happen is I may hit at a certain part of the hand, okay? So I may hit up more towards the front of the knuckles, okay? So where the fingers at, the front of the knuckles here, and this is wrong technique. There's not going to be much power in it, and you can see the difference in that sort of mechanical advantage here. So when I hit more with the knuckle itself, it's more in line with the forearm, the thumb, and the arm itself. So that's going to be something that you are going to actually get feedback, direct feedback from when you're hitting the bag. So when I'm hitting the bag, I'm getting my knuckles onto that bag, okay? I get feedback. If I hit it wrong, trust me, you're going to know you hit it wrong because your wrist will feel weird. You're going to get that pain up through. So it's going to actually give you better punching technique, okay? So just simply hitting the bag. And again, over time, you can develop more power and you won't hurt the hands because you've developed strength and callus into the bone, and again micro fracturing that bone. And why is this going to help so much with power is because you've conditioned your hands, and then when you've conditioned your hands, your nervous system is in line with your body, you don't feel the same pain, and you can actually let go with the shots. Punching power comes from technique, it comes from raw ability, but it also comes from learning to use your mechanical leverages, kinetic energy, and strength and conditioning in your hands. If you'd love to see more videos like this, strength and conditioning videos or anything else, I'd love to hear from you. Comment below, subscribe to the channel, and if you would like to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook at Coach Casey, the Warrior Within. You can also email me, check the link in the descriptions. I will see you in the next one.